What's up, Speak For Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak For Yourself.
Welcome to Speak For Yourself. Marcellus Wiley up here in defeat, looking at Emmanuel Immaculate.
So they told me that you were having a yacht party after this, so I dressed for the occasion.
Oh, well, I got the yacht. I guess you got the party, because look at you. What is that, double-breasted, private school? What are we doing here?
A little private school. I keep it classy.
Okay, whatever. He can't even take his W's well. Let's get it started. It's so braggadocious, but... And the Cowboys are facing another offseason with a big decision to make at quarterback. The deadline for franchise tagging a player is March 9th in Dallas. To tag or not to tag Dak Prescott? That is the question. Cowboys legend Drew Pearson seems to have the answer. Take a listen.
Where do you go if you don't sign Dak? And if you let him go, and especially if you let him play under the franchise tag this season, and you don't sign him anywhere along the line to a long-term contract, Dak ain't going to be here after that.
So, Acho, who's under more pressure to get a deal done, Dak or the Cowboys?
No, man, Dak is under a lot more pressure than these boys. And he's under a lot more pressure because Dak's career is going to last far less long than the Cowboys.
Yeah,
like the Cowboys can go much further than Dak can go. So Dak has to understand you need this more than they do. What Beyonce say? To the left, to the left,
to the left, to the left.
Everything you own in a box to the left.
I love
in the
that
closet.
Song.
That's my stuff.
That was her last hit.
The song is irreplaceable. And the fact of the matter is, Dak Prescott, you have to realize you are replaceable. That's what I'm going to build this whole take off of. So, Dak, as much as he wants to think so, as much as we want to think so, you better understand they can find another you in a minute.
Ooh, really?
Matter of fact, he'll be here in a minute. Sal, think about it, man. We didn't think Tony Romo was replaceable. 2015, the Cowboys, they go 4-12. They started 3-1 with Tony Romo. They win one out of their next 12 games without him. Man, Tony Romo is everything for these Cowboys. I was there. I was still in the league, actually, 2015, so I was really there.
Yeah.
I saw the whole picture.
Okay.
Next thing you know, you know the Cowboys didn't think Romo was replaceable because they didn't even try to replace him. They drafted Dak Prescott, not in the first round, not in the second round, not in the third round. They drafted Dak Prescott in the fourth round because they weren't even trying to replace Tony Romo. So the great Tony Romo was incidentally replaced. Dak Prescott, you best believe you can be intentionally replaced.
Ooh. Acho smoking.
The great Romo. He was accidentally replaced. Like, man, we stumbled into a Dak. Like, we tripped and fell into a Dak. Dak, you don't think they can intentionally replace you? If so be. So Dak Prescott is definitely under more pressure to get the deal done because the lifespan of his career is smaller than the lifespan of the organization's career. And if the Cowboys need to replace Dak Prescott, they don't want to. But if they need to do it, they will.
Boy, with that take, you took us back to that private school you wore that uniform in. Boy, you a beast up here. Damn big-ass Gap kid. You up here preaching. Okay, I'm not even mad at the take because you left no room to attack. But I can go on the outside of that take, and I can find me in lane 2, Marcellus Wiley, representing US of A. Okay, Jerry Jones needs to understand one thing right now. That Dak's going to get paid regardless. Now, the only thing in leverage Jerry Jones has over Dak is locale, location, that star on your helmet. And I wore that star on my helmet, despite now looking at that situation differently than I did in the moment. It is a huge opportunity and a huge platform just to be a Dallas Cowboy. When you're in the league and you're going team from team, you just think it's the NFL, we're all the same. And the only difference you notice is the fan bases. Like, okay, Dallas has a huge fan base. When we travel, we saw the Pittsburgh Steelers everywhere. Okay, you go to KC, it's going to be loud. You go to Seattle, it's going to be loud. Now, I'm 46 years old, and I look back, I'm like, boy, that star, no matter how you perform there, it just adds a little shine to the resume. That's the only leverage Jerry Jones has over Dak Prescott. Let's talk about what Dak has over Jerry. The fact that one is, I want to get paid here, but I'm going to get paid. And if you don't pay me right now, long term, you franchise tag me again. Jerry, that's going to be to your detriment. Franchise tag me again, and then next year, you're not going to franchise tag me at what, $50, $60 million? So I'm going to become a free agent. Jerry, do you really want Dak Prescott out there for all eyes to look and see, wow, Dak Prescott's available. What can we do there? I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, in numbers, Kirk Cousins has made the most money of any NFL quarterback since 2016. And Kirk Cousins is not Dak Prescott, or is Kirk Cousins even a top 10 quarterback? So when you see that on record by the numbers, you're looking at this situation like, dude, what are you doing, Jerry Jones? You know what Jerry Jones is doing? He's letting his pride get in the way. This is the pride of Jerry Jones getting in his own way.
That's true.
Jerry Jones had a deal struck before. And with that deal, Jerry Jones was like, okay, that's what we're going to roll with, right? 5 years, $35 million. And then Dak Prescott switched agents. Remember, he switched to Todd France. Once he switched agents, he also changed his mind. He didn't just change agents. And Jerry Jones is still stuck in that mud, that concrete of that moment. Let me tell you this before I give it back to you, big dog. I learned this in the court of law, that negotiations can't be used against you. You want to know why? Because it's a big-ass hypothetical. Oh, man, we should give Dak this. No, we're going to give Dak this. Oh, Dak, you want this? Oh, Jerry, you going to do this? Fine. You know what's binding in the court of law? A signature. A contract with a signature on it. All the way up to that point, none of that is binding. Jerry Jones, remove the pride. Take the E out of ego and just go. Give this dude his money because you're using yesteryear as something that's going to actually undermine you. Go forward.
That's a bar. Take the E out of ego and just go.
Just go.
But here's what I'm going to say back to that, Sal. When I think about pressure, what do you have to gain and what do you have to lose? Right? When you think about pressure, what do you have to gain, what do you have to lose? So for Dak Prescott, what do you have to gain? Millions upon millions of dollars.
That he already has.
Yes, but more.
Oh, yeah, a lot more, a whole lot.
Tenfold more.
Okay.
He has $30 million. We're talking $150, $300 million. That's what Dak Prescott has to gain. Dak, what do you have to lose? Therefore, he also has to lose millions upon millions of dollars. Now, if you're the Cowboys,
he can go somewhere else.
But he could get hurt. He could get hurt.
He got hurt and his value went up this year.
But you know how it goes. Let me pivot then. I don't want to go there, but let me pivot. Carson Wentz, 1 year he's worth $128 million. The next year he's worth the third and second round pick.
You made my point, but that's not injury.
That wasn't injury. It's just play.
That's just sorry.
Yeah. Jared Goff. 1 year, he's worth $130-some odd million. Yeah. The next year, he was worth just whatever somebody's willing to just here, take him. Give me a bag of chips.
Here you go.
Lay sour cream and onion preferably, but just take him. Take him for a bag of chips. So I say that to say with Dak Prescott, 1 year, you're right. He is worth millions of dollars. But we don't know how it can happen the next because he saw Carson Wentz, his draft class. He saw Jared Goff, his draft class. We don't know what will happen next. So if you're the Cowboys, what do you have to gain? I mean, Dak's giving you a 10-win season. What do you have to gain? Dak's giving you a 13-win season long ago.
I'm about to say,
but he gave you a 13-win season. Keep going. What do you have to gain? A 9-win season and an 8-win season. What do you have to lose? I'm not convinced. So you were there. What was it? Drew Bledsoe, they got a 9-7 season out of him. Quincy Carter, they got a 10-win season out of him. We act as though the Cowboys were in this quarterback purgatory for a decade. We act as if the Cowboys were somehow the Miami Dolphins and just stuck in quarterback purgatory for 15 years. They weren't. It was about 6 years, 5 years of confusion.
You said the number.
When Aikman retired in 2000 to finding Romo in 2006. But even within those 5 years of confusion, you still had Quincy and you still had Drew Bledsoe, which have given you what Dak Prescott gave you on average, 9 and 10 wins. So if you're Jerry Jones, you're looking at the picture like, I mean, we would like you, Dak. We really would. But I'm not nearly under the pressure you are because we don't need you.
No, you're under that pressure because you keep making an assumption that they're just going to draft someone or through free agency find someone who one, you can believe in and stabilize this franchise like Dak did.
Yes, sir.
Two, be lucky enough and good enough to be even what Dak is as a quarterback, which is top 10. Three, close the gap between where Dak is and a Super Bowl championship for this franchise once again. That's a lot more room for Jerry Jones to travel with his gamble versus Dak, who's like, I'm right here. Why won't you reward me? Oh, I know you love me because you already tried to give me 5 years at $35 million a year. But Jerry, don't be stupid. This kind of in jest reminds me of back in my super single days, and you know, I used to be out there hanging out, and you just meet somebody, and you like, oh, I'm really feeling her, and of course you're feeling me because I'm Marcellus. Look at your face. Anyway, we feeling each other out. And all of a sudden, you know, back in those days, February rolled around. She's like, "What you doing this weekend?" I was like, "Oh man, just chilling around. I want to see you. What's up? What you got?" "Oh, you know, I ain't even want to go, but me and my girls, we're going to go to NBA All-Star parties." Hey, Jerry, you better not let Dak go to no NBA All-Star party. Basically, this is the version of that. You don't sign him for long-term security, everybody going to get a chance to check him out. And when they check him out, man, somebody going to be in love with this situation because Dak Prescott is that dude.
But here is what we have to clarify for the world. If you are Jerry Jones, you found Tony Romo in what? Free agency? Out of a small school? Tony Romo, you found Tony Romo. You made him great. You, Jerry Jones, you looking back like, wait a second. Everybody passed over Dak Prescott, not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Oh, don't do that.
And I found Dak.
Don't do that.
And I made Dak
Tom
Prescott.
Brady got passed over 6 times.
My point is, if you're Jerry Jones, you cocky yourself. You thinking, even if it's not Dak, I can find me another one. Yeah. And I ain't even got to find him in the first round.
Yeah, that's real.
I found my good ones in a free agency and in the 4th round. So, Sel, I'm just making it plain.
What?
Jerry Jones isn't thinking like you or I. He's not thinking, oh, you lucked into Dak. He's not thinking, oh, you gambled and found you one. What? Jerry Jones is thinking like, I do this, son. He's thinking like,
do what?
If not Romo, I find gems in the trash, if you will. I find
You find trash in the trash usually, though.
Not Jerry.
Oh, really?
Not
you
Jerry.
just talked about 6 years. What would you say?
2016. From 2016 to 2021.
You make it.
Jerry Jones has had good quarterbacks, and he found them late.
Hold on. Didn't you tell me there was a playoff drought around 6 years, early 2000s, because they had to figure out the position? That ain't the only one. What about the 6 years before Dak got here? Only 1 playoff win. Dak has more playoff wins than they had in those 6 years before he even got there. Jerry Jones can't trust himself. Jerry Jones wanted to draft Johnny Manziel, bruh. Like, come on, big dog. Steven Jones, I trust more than Jerry in terms of finding them a quarterback going forward. That's why Jerry and Steven both are on record saying he's our quarterback going forward.
We've heard that.
But they actually tried to support that, not only through words, but actually through actions. They tried to pay Dak. Dak switched agents, changed his mind, and whatever, the bar was raised. But look at this situation. Why Dak shouldn't be scared. Going to Vegas with you, boys, scared money. We ain't gonna make no money. Let's just go to the club.
Make no money.
Let's just go to the NBA All-Star party. Let's just do that because you gave me comps of Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Dak, don't be scared of them dudes and the fact that their value dropped because of what? Not because it's injuries. It's because they sorry now. Right now, they couldn't find their way. Dak found his way. Must I remind you the Cowboys with and without Dak? This is a team that averages 11 more points per game with Dak Prescott and 170 more yards, big dog. Other positions are affected. Ezekiel Elliott production went down 30 yards. CeeDee Lamb's production went down 30-plus yards. Amari Cooper's production went down 20 yards. Michael Gallup's production went down 25 yards. Dog, Dak has an effect, and we're not even talking about the leadership. You're going to go draft to find a free agent that's as good as Dak, as great a leader as Dak, and still hope to improve? You're doing too much.
But, big dog, let's talk real then.
All right.
Doesn't Dak need to understand, I better strike while the iron's hot?
Oh, you scared money again.
But you got to be. It's not even scared money. It's wise money. Sell. Carson Wentz. Okay, we went to a Super Bowl. I'm finna strike. The time is now. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl. Okay, let me strike. The time is now. Dak Prescott. I couldn't strike after going 13-3. That was year 1. I didn't really want to strike after going 9-7. I couldn't strike after going 10-6. Yeah, I actually could have struck after going 10-6, but I didn't. Now I went 8-8 my year 4. Now I'm hurt. So what? He just still, Marcellus, he's at the mound and he's just waiting on a perfect pitch. Dak, you better start swinging, big dog. You better start swinging because you're going to get a pitch you don't like. Last season, he got hurt. That's a pitch.
And he got more money coming because he got hurt. He proved his value in his absence.
But can you bank on, if that,
Yes,
you're going to bank on, okay, even if I get hurt, I might stumble into more money again?
You know why? Because I got comps. Acho, when we go to the negotiation table, it's two things that they're looking at. Main cake of this, the main body of work is your performance. Your performance. You know who goes into your negotiating room? Only Acho. You can call your agent, you can say whatever, but it's Acho's performance. The cherry on top is the outcome. How did the team do? But we're not going to pay you based on team success if you're not a performer that we believe in. Dak Prescott has comps, big dog. Look at the difference between performance and outcome when you talk about all of these other players. Second highest paid player in the NFL is Deshaun Watson. If I'm Dak's agent, Todd France, I'm like, all I do is I walk in the meeting with a Deshaun Watson jersey on. He's 29-27 with 2 playoff appearances and 1 playoff win. Dak's resume, more wins and the same amount of playoff wins. And are you going to sit there and retort and say, well, Deshaun has more passing yards? And I'm going to sit there and say, not enough, big dog. Ryan Tannehill, number 3. 91 guaranteed. Jared Goff, 110 guaranteed. Carson Wentz, as I proved. These are the dudes with the most money. That's right there in that conversation.
Here's a problem with that, big dog. And you may know Deshaun's agent. You may know Dak's agent. We both know Deshaun's agent.
Yeah.
If Dak dares,
they're working together too
fix
now.
his lips to walk into the Jerry Jones office and try to compare himself to Deshaun and be like, I want to be the highest paid.
No. I ain't say highest paid because Patrick Mahomes is the highest paid. That's a different tier.
I want to be up there in the highest paid.
Wait, he can't be with Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff, and Carson Wentz?
Deshaun had 4,800 yards. He led the league. I would even say 33 touchdowns, 7 picks. I would say I got a 70% completion percentage. The highest completion percentage Dak ever had was 67 his rookie year. This year he had 68, but he didn't finish it.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, if I'm Dak Prescott and I try to go in there and try to make a comparison to Deshaun Watson, Jerry Jones is going to be like, you ever led the league in passing yards? You ever led the league in completion percentage?
No.
You ever had
and what that get Deshaun?
4 wins. Touchdown 4 wins. Ratio? I'm just saying.
Getting beat down and just throwing empty calorie yards. Come on, at the end of the game,
take this deal. You better find out that you better find out that you're replaceable before you get replaced. That's all I'm going to say. You better find out that you are replaceable before you get replaced, because you will get replaced. Somebody was sitting in this seat before me, Marcellus. Don't make me go there. Don't make me go there. Somebody was sitting in this seat.
Just
on
one
this
seat
show,
or 2 seats?
No, you were still in yours.
No, I'm saying, was it another one next to him? Let me leave that big dog alone. That's my dog. What up, Whitlock? All right, what? I don't see. That ain't the same chair. Let me just tell you that.
Somebody was sitting here. You better find out.
You are just scared
before you get replaced.
Well, it was that old cartoon. I think I see a putty tat. Like, you are a scared little dude. Here we go. If I'm Dak Prescott, let me be Todd France and let's get out of this. You keep talking about yards.
Yes,
what did Deshaun have again? 4,800.
Yes, sir.
You know Dak was on pace to have 7,800. Dak was averaging 488 yards per game. How many wins did he get out of that? Don't give me no yards. Let's talk about points per game. 32.6. Hey, defense. Where y'all at? Hey, special teams. McCarthy. Yo. Nobody showed up but Dak from day one, averaging 32.5 points per game. Sorry, that would have led the league if he could have continued his services. There are too many good comps out there for Dak Prescott to have this kind of audacity, same kind of arrogance that I have. Hopefully, Dak continues. Jerry, you're in trouble, bro. Coming up at the top of the hour, Lamar Jackson won his first playoff game this season, but we'll tell you if he's done enough to silence his doubters. That's next on Speak for Yourself. I hope. I don't see anything else. Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Nets are the hottest team in the NBA after picking up their 6th straight win last night. Now, Brooklyn was without KD, but James Harden and Kyrie combined for 65 points to beat Clip City.
Chill.
After the game, Kyrie said, quote, winning 6 in a row, all it does is keep the world silent for a little bit. Then wait until we kind of hit a bump in the road, and then it's what's going on with the Nets. Well, we joined by NBA analyst Slick Rick. Slick, what's good? But Marcellus, you
yes,
are
sir.
first.
Yes, sir.
Are you sold on the Nets after their win over your Clippers?
Yes, I'm sold on them after their win against the best team in the NBA, the Los Angeles Clippers. But I was already sold on the Brooklyn Nets even before their game against the Clippers. Dude, as soon as I heard James Harden was on the Brooklyn Nets, what did I come here and say? It's a wrap in the East. Like, y'all in trouble. But last night showed me that it may be a wrap in the West as well. Do you know that this team, since brought together and assembled, is 8-0 versus Western Conference playoff teams? Wait a minute. Did they just have an undefeated West Coast trip on the road? Yes, they do. Because I love this line that I read about this team. They have top-end talent, but lately they're starting to develop their toughness and their togetherness. Man, look, they are just taking turns of who's going to kill you. Which weapon should they use in that given moment? Because even without Kevin Durant, they're still going out there and getting buckets and serving the top teams in the West. Combined 81 points a game, KD, Kyrie, and Harden. Obviously, that's the highest point per game total trio in the NBA. So anyone who disagrees with me is that type of person, and we all know that type of person. They just hate on stuff just to hate on it. Like, in part, they hate on it because they just know they can never achieve it, and their team probably won't become the Brooklyn Nets. You ever been with somebody and they look at it and you're looking at Redfin, or you're just driving by houses and you're like, damn, that's fresh. And they're like, I don't like that house. It's too big. It's too big. I don't like the Brooklyn Nets. They too good. They got too many good players. That's how you sound like if you hate on this team, because this team is coming out the East.
Yeah, big dog, I got to agree with you for the time being.
Yes.
I'm sold on the Nets in the regular season. Okay, there's a caveat there. I'm sold on them boys in the regular season. And it's not even because of the big three. But the Nets role players are playing their role. Like Joe Harris seemingly going to give you 3 or 4 trays game in and game out. Then there's somebody else going to step up. It might be TLC. It might be Bruce Brown coming off the bench. Like, somebody's going to give you buckets. I'm sitting here watching the game. One game is Shamet. Next game is Harris. Next game is Green. Kyrie, KD, James Harden, whichever one of those trio plays, or if they all play, or if 2 or 3 of them play, you know what you're going to get from them. But let me remind you, Kawhi and PG really neutralized Kyrie and Harden.
Yeah, they balled.
That's not the issue.
They balled.
The issue was the Clippers only had 1 more player in double digits. The Nets had 3 players in double digits. So when you talked about the big dogs canceled each other out. What happened with everybody else? What happened with the role players? And it looks like the Nets role players are finally getting in gear. That's why I'm scared about these Nets in the regular season.
The tricky part of this question is that we only have the first half. And by the way, Acho, the next time I'm in L.A., I want to ride on the yacht that you apparently just picked up. Is that cool? Can we do that? Can we make that happen?
Done and done.
Look, it's not sold on the Nets as what? As the best team in basketball right now? As a really good team? Look, I knew when they got Harden that they were going to be the best offensive team in the league and that they were going to be a difficult team to beat, as Acho mentioned, in the regular season. But if we're taking the wins over the Lakers and the Clippers as evidence that the Nets are something more than that they are the team to beat in the league, I'm sorry, but they played a Lakers team that was not at full strength, did not have Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder, was not anywhere close to the #1 defensive team that we've seen play this season, even though they're not taking the season all that seriously. And there's 2 things that happened in the Clippers game, and this is where I'm really shocked by you, Marcellus, being the devout Clippers fan that you are. There are 2 things that happened in that game that will not happen in any playoff game. Number 1, there will not be a ridiculously bogus flop by James Harden that is rewarded. Can we see this? Can we see this? This is with the game on the line. All right? We're going to drive. I'm at the rim. What?
Don't start.
James Harden is leaning on top of him, and all he does is go up, and Harden acts like he's just been shot out of the air, and that's rewarded with an offensive foul. Without that happening, at the very least, the game is tied. The other thing that happened when it came to this is that Paul George, you noticed he wasn't on the floor in the last 3 minutes of this game. Why? Because they decided that load management was more important. And yet this one-star Clippers team had the game in hand. And they had it in hand because, number one, Kyrie Irving's shot selection down the stretch was very suspect. And two, they could not stop the Clippers from getting anywhere they wanted on the floor in the final 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And those two elements are going to be vital when it comes to winning the most important game. So are the Nets great? Yes, they're great. Did they prove that they're better than the Clippers and the Lakers? No way in hell did they prove that they are better than the Lakers and the Clippers.
I'm not with that because they beat them without KD. That neutralizes your argument. Like, I understand.
And how's that going to make them better defensively?
Hell, a 7-footer that has presence in the paint? Yes, you ask Golden State how did KD help them out defensively as well.
That was with Golden State.
Hey, that's with Kevin Durant on your team. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, but getting those shots, it's just presence. I'm not saying he's a great shot blocker. I'm not saying he's coming with the greatest defensive intensity, but he's still 7 feet and can move. That is an issue there. Slick, I know you got some boat shoes, so I'll meet you on the yacht with Acho. Not a problem. Hate to stereotype you, but I did. Look, I'm the type of person that doesn't have any enemies. Now, I'm serious. I don't have any enemies.
On Twitter, you do.
Who? Quincy Avery? Boy, stop. Excuse me. Quincy Avery. I don't want to hear about that dude right now. Get you next block, bro. They hate me, but I don't hate them. I giggle all day. I'm not mad at people, even if people are mad at me. I'm not mad at teams that may get in the way of my Clippers' success, even though I'm taking notice that team, Brooklyn, is something special. I am more apathetic. I know out the East is going to be Brooklyn. Now, my only intention and my only desire is that we come out the West. But all this conversation of you're not sold on a team that just went through a lot of good teams and then still beat the Clippers without their best player. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks, beat those guys, second game with Harden. They beat the Heat. You talk about them, and that was a team that was in the finals last year. We know that they beat the Clippers. We know they beat the Lakers. Say what you want, no KD kind of neutralizes that conversation. Yeah. 11-2 against teams over 500. Best record in the NBA against teams above 500. And I keep giving you guys this stat. Let it sink in, internalize, y'all. They're number one in the NBA in points per game, field goal percentage, and three-point percentage. In the last decade, 4 other teams were in that same position, and all of them went to the finals, and they won the finals 3 of those times. Golden State Warriors. This team is not to be messed with, guy. All we need to concern ourselves with, seriously, is who's coming out the West.
Here's what gives me pause, though, Sel. What are our concerns with the Nets? Can they get a stop? That's why when PG went out the game, I was like, what you mean? Y'all on an 18-7 run, Clippers?
Yeah.
An 18-7 run. Y'all closing fast. Usain Bolt in his prime fast, about to get to the finish line. Then you pull PG out down by 4. Is y'all are on a tear.
Minutes.
And like Slick just said,
restriction.
if not for the Harden flop, they not getting a stop. So, still, I respect the Nets beating the Lakers without AD. I respect the Nets beating the Clippers because those are the top teams in the West.
Yeah,
when it comes down to, well, the top teams in the West as far as contending for the playoffs, in my opinion. Shout out to the other players. Shout out to the Jazz. I respect it. But I need to see a stop, and we didn't get to see that, Marcel.
You got to see a stop? You can't just see buckets all day in your face, and that's not enough for you?
No, because we see the Nets. No. The Nets give up 11 points more to their opponent than their opponents score on average. So I get that the Nets get 8 buckets, but can the Nets get stops? The last thing I'm going to say is this.
What was the score last night? 108?
The last thing I'm going to say is this.
Sound like stops.
James Harden is always great in the regular season. So are we going to be surprised that James Harden?
No. Harden was good. Harden was good in the playoffs last year. Don't do that to Harden. The outcome wasn't good, but the performance, once again, was good.
Harden's outcome in the playoffs has not been good in the
I didn't say outcome. I said his performance. You said Harden wasn't good. Harden was.
Harden teams.
Here you go. See?
Limitations.
Hide behind outcome.
I'm hiding behind James Harden and what we see from him when the playoffs come around.
But that's why he left that team.
No, but Harden has had his misses in the postseason as well.
Yeah, of course.
He has had his subpar performances.
Yeah. LeBron too.
Marcellus, you're saying they beat all the best teams. You're saying they beat the best teams in the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Last time I checked, they did not play the Utah Jazz. They have not played the Utah Jazz under this iteration.
We just beat Utah.
And the Utah Jazz have the best record in the entire league. And they have the one element that I need to see the Brooklyn Nets answer, which is, can they beat size?
Yeah,
That's why I have the question about whether they can be the best team in the Eastern Conference, because I need to see them against Philadelphia. The Nets are going to play small ball. And if they had their druthers in last night's game, they wouldn't have had DeAndre Jordan on the floor at the end of the game. They only did because Jeff Green got hurt on the pick by Patrick Beverley.
Facts.
DeAndre Jordan not in the game. Now you don't get that. I mean, we didn't even mention the freak tip-in off of the Kyrie Irving miss, the two Kyrie Irving early three attempts, which raises the question, is Kyrie Irving going to is he going to play the hero ball in spite of having KD and James Harden next to him? Is he going to make solid decisions? It is one of the elements that we've questioned about these Nets.
It's the only one.
What?
What you're saying is the only important element.
What?
Like, who gonna make great decisions down the stretch?
Yes.
Like, that's why I'm not buying into all this Nets hype right now that Marcellus is buying into long term. Because Slick, me and you on the same wavelength, my brother. That's why I rock with you,
hopefully
Slick.
we're going to be on the same boat.
But that's why I rock with you, Slick, because there's so much more that meets any sort of team game than talent alone. Like, even Pat Bev, Marcellus, and you know Pat Bev because you've been watching him because he played for your squad. Even Pat Bev at the end of the game when DeAndre Jordan got the rebound and he fouled him. There's an IQ level of, you know what? If I foul him, he going to have to go shoot free throws. It's the little things. The commentators don't bring it up. Analysts don't bring it up. But if you really don't watch the sport for a little bit, you're like, that was a heady play. Who is going to make those type of selfless plays for the Nets when you have a bunch of, rightfully so, selfish players? Who going to say, you know what, I'm going to take this foul, likely foul myself out, but it's going to put DeAndre Jordan at the line because he can't shoot free throws and we're going to get the ball back and try to win the game. That's what I need to see come crunch time in the playoffs, big dog.
Yeah. You know what I need to see crunch time in the playoffs from teams trying to actually have a strategy that says, we're going to beat them because we're going to question their sports IQ. We're going to beat them because we're going to question their basketball IQ. Good luck to you telling Kevin Durant, who knows the game of basketball backwards, a savant. Kevin Durant, best player on this planet?
LeBron James.
Yeah, boy, stop. Kevin Durant, you a champion? You're going to say that, he's not going to know what to do in critical moments when it comes to playoff time. James Harden, Kyrie Irving,
enough to do it.
He's selfless enough to have this team Voltron together. So I think selfless enough to watch it all come to fruition right before our very eyes. Y'all gonna be late to this party. Don't get mad at me when I come and get y'all at the door because security won't let you in. And I got a sweat towel because I'm getting it. Coming up, Cam Newton got into a verbal exchange with a high schooler at his football camp. We'll tell you if we liked how he handled this. Next on Speak for Yourself. We'll be there.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny because these days we can all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Cam Newton's offseason had a bump in the road when he was heckled by a high school player at his own football camp. The teenager ripped Cam about his free agent status. Take a listen.
You ass, man. You're a free agent, man. You're a free agent, Rick. You're a free agent. I'm Rick. You about to be pulled. I'm Rick. You about to be pulled. I'm Rick. You about to be pulled. I'm Rick. You're a free agent. I'm Rick. You're a free agent. I'm Rick. He's a free agent. Where your daddy is? Let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. Oh, where's your dad? You're a free agent. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Talk to your dad. You're a free agent. You ass. Talk to. Let me. Where's your dad? Where's your pop? You ass.
Cam explained his side with his Instagram post. Quote, to the natural eye, you see me asking the young man, where's your dad at? But to me, talking to a child with everyone looking does me no good. So instead of speaking or going back and forth with a child, I wanted to have a man-to-man conversation with his father. I've given my time, my energy, and my expertise to these kids coming into our program for over 11 years, and that is not what people want to hear or even want to see. So, Acho, man, you like how Cam Newton handled this one? I know, it's crunchy. We're about to go there.
That whole situation was so frustrating. Marcellus, it makes me grateful for those dirty slaps I received as a kid.
Idiot.
It makes me grateful for that one dirty slap I got across my face. Because, boy, these kids out here wilding.
Wow.
I like how Cam Newton handled the situation.
You do?
And I do because Cam Newton was at least speaking facts. The kid was telling lies. You a free agent. Cam Newton is not yet a free agent. Cam Newton retorted, I'm rich. Cam Newton is rich. Now, maybe one day Cam Newton will be broke, and maybe one day Cam Newton will be a free agent. But as it stands now, the kid was telling them lies, and Cam Newton was speaking those facts. Cam Newton is a grown man. And I've seen some people say, why are you entertaining or engaging with the kid? Cam Newton's still an athlete. He's still a competitor.
Still a person.
And he's still a human being. So if you clap, I'm going to clap back. Hey, look, bruh. I probably shouldn't do this in L.A. But, like, if somebody honks at me unnecessarily, you know what I'm going to hit them with?
What?
If you
Stop
my
that
homework too.
Now. I'm just telling you.
My homework too.
It will detonate on your end. I'm telling you.
On your end.
I'm telling you.
I say this
Slow
to
down.
say, bro, like,
Oh,
I
man.
respect how Cam handled it because Cam he didn't lay hands on that kid, and I ain't talking about in prayer. He just respectfully clapped back accurately. Cam is, in fact, rich. Now, my next lap,
Okay.
I'm going to talk to the kid.
Oh, God. That was entertaining. That was funny. I think it was off. I don't like how Cam handled this.
Do this to me,
I
Stan.
know. This is tough.
Do this to me.
I'm going to get at the kid, too, with gloves on. But Cam, I got to take my gloves off. Oh, that kid hit him where it hurts. Bullseye. Right there where Cam is psychologically wobbling right now. This is why I don't like how Cam handled this heckler. Because hit dogs holler. And when you get hit, I don't care what the size of the rock was. Your first issue is who threw it. Now, Cam, once you know that a kid threw a rock, it's time to call the dogs off. But don't be the hit dog in this situation. And Cam sounds like the hit dog. You know how much I love Cam. But let me tell you why this is a bullseye. My daughter every day hits me. As soon as I wake her up, hey, baby, hey, daddy. Hey, yeah, she does this. It doesn't hurt because she's a kid. And you know what? This is a situation where emotionally, whatever this kid is saying, it shouldn't hurt. Now, the kid is disrespectful. I'm going to get to that. But, Cam, no matter what this kid throws at you, it shouldn't hurt. In life, I always use this measuring stick. I always use this as the line of declaration of should I go to war with this person or stall them out. I check their life receipts. I check their life receipts. I don't care what you're talking about. I'm caring about who you are because you may have influence. This kid doesn't have enough life receipts for us to even check. So therefore, no return of fire. I can't shoot back at somebody who can't shoot. This kid, who knows what he will be? Good luck to this kid being whoever he wants to be in life because this kid doesn't understand the road ahead to even become ass Cam Newton. Do you know how far this kid will have to travel in the game of football to become ass Cam Newton? The kid doesn't know. That's why Cam has to know better in this situation. Look, Cam, in terms of his emotional state right now, this kid heard a conversation Cam was having internally with himself. It's just that simple. The kid is out of bounds, but Cam is doubting, is he out of magic? Oh, so when a kid on the outside calls you out on something you're having a conversation and battle with on the inside, you respond to said kid, even though you know that was out of bounds. It calls for Cam Newton to be more mature in this situation, and he didn't handle it wrong necessarily, but he shouldn't even return fire on little man. You threw the notes away. Let's go to war.
Okay, I want to get to my point, but I got to go where you at real quick. Let me go chill at Marcellus' house figuratively, then I'm going to go back to my crib.
All right.
So when I see people on social media engaging with bots, engaging with profile pictures that are of kittens or profile pictures that are like of a hat, I'm like, yo, what you doing? You wasting your time.
Right.
This person is beneath you. Lions don't bother themselves with the opinions of sheep. Or my dog Ed Sheeran said, don't need to read reviews if you can't do the things I do. Like, that's real. All of these things are facts. However, I still see people engage. And I'm like, hey, you know what? If somebody gonna snap back. I'm not mad at you. If somebody going, let them off, okay.
But
let
a
them
kid,
off. Look, bro.
But a kid,
if you want to act grown, what they say, what your parents do say, if you want to act grown, I'm going to treat you like you grown. If you want to act grown, I'm going to treat you like you grown. You want to talk grown? Let's talk grown then. So that's where I'm at with this. Now, as I calm down, let me talk to the kid.
Yeah, we got to.
Let me talk to the kid. Can I talk to the kid?
Let's go.
Let me talk to the kid. If you are in the presence of someone who has been where you are trying to go, shut up and listen. If you're in the presence of someone who's been where you're trying to go, shut up and listen. Sel, I'm trying to be a TV maven. I got a call. Oprah Winfrey. When Oprah calls me, you know what I do? I take my cell phone out, I open up the notes section, and I just start taking notes. I'm also trying to acquire a lot of money in this world. So I've hung out with Gary Keller. He's a billionaire. Keller, owner of Keller Williams Realty, #1 realty agency in this country. When he talks, I take out my pen and paper, and I just take notes. Because he has been, and Oprah has been, where I am trying to go. So when someone who has been where you are trying to go, when you're in a presence, just shut up and listen. This kid is clearly trying to go where Cam Newton has already been. Walk on waters, Cam Newton has already traversed, has already traveled. When Cam is talking, please just shut up and listen.
I'm going to get at the kid. And I trust me, I'm going to get at him, but I still got gloves on. But, boy, if he was my kid, it'd be a whole different conversation, not on air. Cam has to understand, when they expose you, know who they are before you have to expose them.
Okay.
This is a kid who doesn't even know which way is up.
You don't.
Why, as my grandma used to say, you can't make sense out of nonsense. The kid was talking nonsense. Why are you trying to make sense of it? We're going to talk about this later in the show and talk about more of the role model aspect and more of the mentorship. Because this kid right here, oh, my God, his level of ignorance isn't innate. It's taught. Someone taught this kid to be that kid. A kid who is so ungrateful that he goes to Cam Newton's camp and disrespects Cam Newton. Now, I was in high school before, and I remember I got invited to the UCLA football camp, and I was excited, and Gaston Green was there. Not everyone knows who Gaston Green is. He wasn't a tremendous NFL player, but he was still Gaston Green, as you said, Acho. Someone in front of me, someone who already walked on water and became an NFL player. So every time I saw Gaston Green, I am not lying, goosebumps. Every time he said anything, I was sitting there soaking it in. Because I was like, whatever he's done is something I want to bring into my program, so hopefully I can accomplish that. This kid lost sight of that because these kids are getting taught something different, which we'll talk about at a later time. But Cam Newton, don't you dare let this kid hit you psychologically where you already having a conversation, where you're already having an uncomfortable conversation with Cam Newton. Cam Newton is really having that battle because I remember when I was coming down the hill, and I remember when my jokes weren't as funny around my teammates because I wasn't the man. And I remember when all of a sudden, are you just a built-in starter or are you a borderline starter? And I remember how the world felt different. And I remember how triggered I felt with every single criticism about me. That's where Cam is. Now, if an adult would have came at Cam like this, Cam would have unloaded the whole clip. He didn't. He just took a little peek at the little kid.
That's it.
But still too much because it's a kid. Acho. You can't let everything take you off your swag, take you off your path, take you out your zone, off your square, especially when it's somebody who don't even have a square to exchange with you. And this kid is someone in that position.
We got to go there, Sal. I didn't want to go there. I was comfortable here, but now we have to go there.
All right.
Don't come out here barking all tough. You out here, Cam Newton, you this. Hey, you that. You a free agent. You a free agent. But then want to hide behind, I'm just a kid. When you want to reach I'm just a kid. You can't come back at me, Cam. I'm a kid. So I can dish it, Cam, but I can't take it. I don't want to hear that, Sal. If you want to go out there and run your mouth grown, I'm going to treat you grown. Yeah. Like, I hate that. Why are we trying to act this? But he was just a kid. He wasn't a kid when he was running his mouth. He wasn't a kid when he was talking all that talk. But now he a kid?
Dog, our next block gonna be fire. Y'all think this fire? Wait till the next one. Look, the kid threw the rocks and hit his hands, and he hit them behind the fact that I'm a minor.
Facts.
But in court of law, we can try you as an adult, but most of the time we're gonna try you as a minor because we get it. You don't even know which way is up. But Cam, you know which way is up. This kid is not someone you should punch down on because the kid is unqualified. I don't care. If someone ran up to me and said, man, I got the homie, he faster than you. I'm like, well, show me the receipts. He has no receipts. I'm not believing the homie.
Let me ask you something, because I've seen you at times and I'm entertained by it. You entertain Twitter people all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But the majority of people you actually clap back at are beneath you.
Well, everybody beneath me. Come on.
Watch me out. But real talk, like the majority of people haven't played in the NFL like you have, haven't acquired the wealth that you have, haven't acquired the intellectual property that you have, don't have the family life that you have. The majority of people haven't achieved the success that Marcellus Wiley has achieved across a plethora of fields. Yet you still put people in their place.
I do.
What's the difference?
One, they're not kids. So my first thing is, if you're a kid, if I could tell you're a kid, who could tell with all these avatars now and all these, egg avatars? If you're a kid, we ain't going there because I want you to figure this out instead of trying to spank you into knowing better.
Okay.
If you're an adult, first thing I check is, do you have influence? Do you have sway? Do you have platform? Not for clout, because I know you have influence on other people's minds. And if they're going to listen to what you say, I'm going to correct what you're saying so that they can learn a better way. That's the only reason. But Acho, if I look only up, it's only like 8 people I'm going to talk to. So I got to look down. That's where everybody else is. Cocky little dude, I'm sorry. Coming up, Lamar Jackson's teammate thinks he has done enough to silence his doubters. Did that come out? We'll tell you if we agree next on Speak for Yourself. And tune in to our next block on this. Good Lord. You're watching Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley, Emmanuel Acho in the building. Let's head to Baltimore. Well, Lamar Jackson had a number of firsts this season. He won his first playoff game, and he was the first quarterback to rush for over 1,000 yards in multiple seasons. Lamar's teammate, fullback Patrick Ricard, is that how you say it? Ricard, said, quote, I think he's just slowly silencing the doubters he's had. But he added, it does not matter because people still doubt Tom Brady. Bow. You ain't lying. So, Acho, has Lamar Jackson done enough to silence his doubters?
So I got to break down this question, right? And I got to go back to English 10. Shout out to Mr. Gunn in High
English
School.
10?
English 10.
Is it Ricard or Ricard? You need English 11.
I got to go back there. So I got to say this.
All right,
breaking down the sentences. Has Lamar Jackson done enough? Yes.
Okay.
Has Lamar Jackson done enough? 30-7 is a record. That's the best through 37 games, I believe, as a starter, if not his top 3. Has Lamar Jackson done enough? NFL MVP. Has Lamar Jackson done enough? Started his first season, started 6 games, won just about all of them things. Next year, 12-plus wins. Next year, 11-plus wins. Has Lamar Jackson done enough? Yes. To silence his doubters? No. That's the kicker. Right? Like, as soon as you added in that to silence his doubters, the answer is no. Because now it's no longer predicated upon what Lamar Jackson has done. Now it's predicated upon the doubt. And the doubt is actually greater than what Lamar Jackson has accomplished. The doubt upon Lamar Jackson is, can he still pass the football?
Damn.
Still questions there. The doubt, even though he led the league from passing touchdowns from the pocket his MVP season. The doubt is, can Lamar Jackson stay healthy? Question still there. Last time we saw him, he was concussed. The doubt is, can Lamar Jackson win a Super Bowl, right? Somebody who plays a game like Lamar Jackson plays a game. The doubt is still there. So if you was just to ask me, has Lamar Jackson done enough, period, I'd be like, duh, big dog, what you mean? Came into the league, NFL MVP, first 4 years, gone to the playoffs. What you mean, has he done enough? But then you asking me to silence his doubters. Now I have to go look at all the doubters. And the doubters have not yet been silenced.
Man. This dude has done way too much for someone to still be doubting who he is. That person has hate flowing through their blood if they still are doubting Lamar Jackson. Let me just start off with a nugget so I can let you know where my rhetoric is going to take you. He has the second best regular season winning percentage of any quarterback in the Super Bowl era. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes. Okay. So let's just say the dude puts you in position to succeed. Let's start here. First, everyone, visualize. Actually open your eyes and look real closely at them moving the goalposts once again on Lamar Jackson. Damn, they strong, those doubters. They moved the goalposts again. Where did they start? He needs to switch positions. Really? Well, I'm glad he didn't because he saved his head coach's job and took him to the playoffs as a rookie. Oh, well, he plays quarterback, but can he play quarterback well? I don't know. Maybe being one of only 2 unanimous MVPs in NFL history tells me he could play that position. Or the fact that, like you said, He led the league in passing touchdowns last year, and everybody tried, but he was the one that won. Let me move this goalpost a little more. He can't win a playoff game. Got you there. And then this year, he wins a playoff game. And now they on the field, and they just tied up their cleats. We gonna move these goalposts. He can't win the Super Bowl. And Dan Marino sitting there somewhere like, wait a minute. No, what the hell y'all talking about? You can't be great unless you win a Super Bowl. I remind everyone that Lamar Jackson is just 24 years young. And Steve Young didn't win a playoff game till he was 31. Jim Kelly, 28. Aaron Rodgers, 27. Drew Brees, 27. Peyton Manning, 27. Peyton Manning, woo. Troy Aikman, 26. John Elway, 26. Montana, 25. Boy, stop. What are y'all trying to do with Lamar Jackson's image and perception? Because if you want to stick to reality, he's done way too much for y'all still to doubt him.
I'll tell you exactly what they're trying to do.
What they do?
The questions about Lamar Jackson have always been his style of play.
Really? Why?
Because he came out here and he's a running quarterback
Steve Young
at first, right? But let me check that. Let me clarify that misnomer because I had to dive into it because you kept pushing me back. I said maybe Marcellus is up to something.
Okay.
Lamar Jackson last season had 2.5 pass yards for every rushing yard. The best way to quantify if you're a running or passing quarterback or the running quarterback thing is how many pass yards do you have for every rushing yard you have, right? Like Tom Brady probably has about 15 passing yards for every rushing yard, right? Maybe even 30, maybe 50. Context. Lamar Jackson, 2.5 passing yards every rushing yard. Let me let y'all in on a little secret. Steve Young ran the ball a lot.
A whole lot for that era.
A whole lot for that era.
You got to remember, that context of that era is it's even crazier.
It is.
Okay.
But when Steve Young won the Super Bowl, he passed for 13.5 yards for every one rushing yard.
Okay.
Because he changed his style of play. He brought it in.
Yeah.
Think about it. The only time we've seen dual threat-ish quarterbacks win Super Bowls, Aaron Rodgers passed the ball 11 yards for every one rushing yard. The closest to Lamar Jackson is Russell Wilson's Super Bowl. He passed the ball 6.2 yards for every one rushing yard. So the doubt, Marcellus, is this. Lamar Jackson, we don't know if your style of play can win because it's never won. People bring up Steve Young, but when Steve Young won, he was passing 13 yards for every one rushing yard. When Aaron Rodgers won, he was passing 11 yards for every one rushing yard. When Russell Wilson even won, he was passing 6 yards for every one rushing yard. But you, Lamar, you only passed for 2 yards for every one rushing yard. I don't think that can win. And that is where the doubt lies. I gave y'all the analytical component of just pure jargon. But that's the true breakdown of where the doubt for Lamar Jackson lies.
Okay, here's the problem. The problem with that is we're not starting on equal footing. Because of the resistance of the running quarterback, especially before this era, you don't have the volume of running quarterbacks to even compare it to. You have 2,000 to one running quarterback. 2,000 statues versus one quarterback. And then you go at the end of the equation and say, see, the running quarterbacks can't win. You're like, you only gave one an opportunity. The other 2,000 statues, of course, you're going to have more that have won Super Bowls. That's my only pushback. But the atmospheric pressure that resisted a Lamar Jackson type. More than that, though, let's talk about the limitations maybe in this offense. Despite him succeeding in this offense, you do have a once-in-a-generation type of talent. Because as great as Michael Vick was, Lamar Jackson is a better runner. And as great as Michael Vick was, and he had that gun, he's a better passer than Michael Vick. Now, let's be real about this. He has a 106 passer rating in the last 2 years, which is top 5 in the NFL. Passer rating. I ain't say running rating, passer rating. Second most touchdowns in the NFL, only 2 in total touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers. Dog, he lights up the scoreboard. He does it from the pocket. He will even do it with his legs. But still, there's this resistance out there. And then everyone's in love with Deshaun Watson. And I look at his resume. And I look at Lamar Jackson's resume. And I'm like, why are people in love with this guy who's won 1 playoff game and not this guy who's won 1 playoff game? And this guy won a unanimous MVP. And this guy don't even want to be where he is. Boy, make it make sense. Coming up, there's no guarantee Dak Prescott is the Cowboys quarterback of the future. We'll tell you if the franchise tag is too risky for Dallas. That's next on Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. It's time to monitor the calendar, especially in Dallas. The deadline for franchise tagging a player is March 9th. and Dak Prescott would earn nearly $38 million next season. That's Marcellus Wilder's money.
Yeah, I take it.
If he was tagged again. Now, Cowboys legend Drew Pearson said, quote, if you let him play under the franchise tag this season and you don't sign him anywhere along the line to a long-term contract, Dak ain't gonna be here after that.
He gone. He gone. Boy, he gone.
Drew just got inducted to the Hall, right?
Yeah, he did.
He talking with
He
his
talked his way into it, too. Let me stop. Nah, respect to Drew Pearson. He had to call some noise to make it happen, though.
So, Marcellus, would placing the franchise tag on Dak Prescott be risky for the Cowboys?
Hell yeah, it's going to be risky. What? Are you going to do it a third time? No. Why are you going to do it a second time? Because it's only $6 more million than it was last year. But you know what the end game is. You know what the goal is. Sign Dak Prescott long term. Unreal. You're going to play with fire. It either warms you or it burns you. In this case, it's going to burn you because Dak is going to get paid regardless. Now, Jerry's trying to hold over his head. You want to get paid with the star on your helmet. Well, Jerry, duh. But that's not enough leverage for me to go and tuck my tail and lose this negotiation long term just because I want to take the hometown discount of being a Dallas Cowboy. So Jerry's leverage is countered with greater leverage. Dak Prescott, $31 million, $37 million. Oh, you going to take it to 54? No, you're not. So why'd you offer me, Jerry, 5 years, $35 million, if you don't want to go all the way with it? I have a comp. Deshaun Watson is the second highest paid player in the NFL. Whether you think Deshaun's better than me or I'm better than Deshaun, whatever, I have a comp. I have numbers to support that. I have a better win percentage. I also have won the same amount of playoff games, and I'm a greater leader around here because I haven't caused any issues. Whatever you want to say about that, all I got to say is if Jerry doesn't let his ego get in the way, he's going to see this clearly. Dak Prescott has been deserved his money, and it's time to pay the man.
I like your take. I'm not mad at it. I will say this, though. I don't think placing the tag on Dak would be risky for the Cowboys. I think it's genius for the Cowboys. And I think so because, if you're looking at the Cowboys lineup, I got 3 receivers that can go over 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
I got a running back that has the potential within him to be a top 5 running back. I got an offensive line of Tyron Smith and Zach Martin come back healthy. That's a top 5, top 10 offensive line. I got defensive players on my defensive side of the ball that can be studs. I'm looking and saying, wait, who was in the Super Bowl this year? The Buccaneers and the Chiefs. Give me my skill positions over theirs or equal to theirs. There should not be a retort. Because give me my 3 receivers. Wait a second. If my quarterback is a top 5 quarterback in Dak Prescott, okay, put him in the conversation with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes because I'm about to pay him like he should be in that conversation. Okay, do I got defensive playmakers? Well, the Chiefs got Chris Jones. The Bucs got JPP. Yeah, I got DeMarcus Lawrence, but do I got anybody else? Yeah, I got Jalen Smith. So if you Jerry Jones and you just saw Tampa go 1 and maybe done or 1 and maybe some, I'm Jerry. I'm like, hey, tag you it. What's up, Dak? Because we have the perfect infrastructure right now for you to come in and instantly be able to win if you are ever going to win. Okay. If you can't win with this roster this year, you ain't never going to get it done. Because guess what else we added? Man, the Cowboys' defense has been really bad. Oh, we just brought in Dan Quinn, former coach for the Falcons, now defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Dan Quinn had the #1 defense in yards and points 2 consecutive years, the last time he was a defensive coordinator. So we just fixed that issue. Last time we saw a team with #1 defenses 2 years in a row, the 85-86 Bears. Only happened twice in the last 50 years in NFL history. So we fixed the defensive woes. We got the same skill talent that the Bucs have. We got the same skill talent that the Chiefs have. We got the same quality of quarterback that they have. At least we believe we do. Okay. At least Dak Prescott, you talking like you are. So I want to see what you can do in this one season. Year. And if you get it done, bet. I'll pay you what you want. If not, I'll see you when I see you. Well, let's bring in NFL analyst Bucky Brooks, my guy. Bucky, talk to me. Would placing the franchise tag on Dak Prescott be risky for the Cowboys?
Oh, it absolutely would be risky. But look, you took my words all out of source because I'm listening to your argument about, I guess the Dallas Cowboys are now a Super Bowl contender based on all the things that you say that they have. Dan Quinn comes over. They have the best skill group, that offensive line and everything. Okay, so let's just go down your path and what you're saying, because what happens if they do this franchise tag with Dak Prescott, I think Dak Prescott is actually the winner in this scenario because the deal that was offered in 2019 was 5-year, $105 million that he would have been able to walk away with. If he signs this franchise tag this year and they play him on the tag, next year he jumps up 44%. So that 1-year deal next year is $54 million. So in 3 years, he would have made $122 million in guaranteed money. And so if I'm Dak Prescott, man, I'm whistling and walking to the bank with that because I've won. Because then when I get on the open market, I have an opportunity. But as it relates to the Dallas Cowboys and what we're doing now, I think Marcellus knows this because Marv Levy used to talk about this when we all were in Buffalo. The quickest path to the Super Bowl is winning your division. Well, when I look at Dak Prescott, he's 14-3 against the Washington football team and the New York Giants. And then when I look at his record versus the other teams, he's over 50%. So we know when Dak Prescott lines up to play, our odds go up in terms of winning and dominating our division, particularly because he is clearly the best quarterback in the division now. We got Carson Wentz out and those things. So, yeah, if you want to play this one-and-done scenario as Dallas, man, I think it's risky for you because you are not only ceding all the leverage to Dak Prescott, but you're going to see your quarterback play and then walk off into the sunset, whether he takes you to the Super Bowl or not.
But here's my thing, Bucky Brooks. Let's remember, in the event you get Dak Prescott just for this one more year, and like I told y'all, they have the same skill talent as the Bucs and the same skill talent as the Chiefs. If you get Dak for this one more year, you have a Super Bowl head coach just like the Bucs and just like the Chiefs. If you get Dak for this one more year, Bucky, and you do, in fact, win the Super Bowl, because the entire roster, you could argue some secondary pieces have question marks, but the roster offensively has the infrastructure to win the Super Bowl. The defensive coordinator has the mind to win the Super Bowl. The head coach has won a Super Bowl. So if you get Dak and you do win the whole dang thing, you're not worried about having to pay him after that. Bucky, you telling me if Jerry Jones got even to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl, you think he worried about, man, now I got to pay Dak $42 million? I promise you, Marcellus could call Jerry Jones right now because he has him on speed dial.
Damn right. Got his money, too.
Dale could call Jerry right now and say, hey, how much would you be willing to pay Dak annually if y'all win the Super Bowl this year on the tag? And he would say, whatever. So it don't matter. Tag the man and you can't lose. You tag him and you play well and you win it all, or at least you go far, you're happy to pay him. You tag him and he doesn't play well, then you're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and keep it pushing.
Get him, Bucky.
I'm just blown away that right now I'm supposed to believe that the Dallas Cowboys have a Super Bowl roster based on the fact that we just moved Dan Quinn in as a defensive coordinator. We saw this defense play at a historically bad level, but Dak Prescott is supposed to drop in and do it. But Emmanuel, if we went to the car lot, I know that it would only take 15 minutes before you buy the car because you don't like to look up under the hood. You ain't worried about the engine. All you care about are the bucket seats nice and what kind of sound system do we have? Because you're talking about the skill players, and I'm worried about this offensive line. Tyron Smith is hurt, often hurt. Leo Collins, that's the difference.
But here's the point, Bucky. Here's the point, because let's talk O-line, because you an analyst, you know it. I studied the Cowboys, so I know it. Tyron Smith is a Hall of Famer. Is he going to be healthy? He missed all the last season. I would hope to God that he comes in healthy.
He's missed all the last 4 or 5 seasons. He's missed course of the last 4 or 5 seasons.
But the fact of the matter is, I can't predict if somebody's going to be hurt or not. I can't predict how Dak Prescott's going to play, if he's going to be hurt or not. But assuming health, because that's what we have to do to have this conversation, is assume a bill of health. You got a left tackle, all-pro. Center, all-pro. Right tackle, top 5. Quarterback, who's a beast.
What center? Joe Looney. What
Zach
center?
Martin, they moved Zach Martin to center. I'm assuming they moving Zach Martin to center like they did during the season. That's just me.
And that's where this argument has gone.
That's just me.
A lot of assumptions. And as my coach used to say, if you assume, you're making a me out of you and me. Let's stay in reality, guys. Let's stay what's really presented by this situation. Part of me is actually glad that Dak Prescott got injured last year. And no, I'm not wishing ill on any player. Go get your money. But it just seems like the financial universe was reminding Jerry Jones that he owes Dak because Dak just got paid $31 million for 5 games. Go ahead, Dak. Go ahead, universe. Talk to Jerry Jones. Because Jerry Jones is in his own way. He's in his own feelings because he had a deal. I had a deal with your former agent. Yes, I did. We talked on the phone and it was going to work. And we had a deal in place. But negotiations can be used against you. So Dak changed his mind. And the number continues to climb to go up. Acho, I need to see your face. You know me. Anytime I get into negotiation, first thing I'm thinking is, what's the counter?
Correct.
What are they thinking?
Yes, sir.
So then I run the chart on what are they thinking and if that thinking comes to fruition. Think about it. You're going to tag Dak Prescott, and Bucky made this point, but I don't know if you caught this. If he goes out there and wins a Super Bowl on the franchise tag the second time, do you know how much that's going to cost the Dallas Cowboys?
Does it matter?
It matters. I'm going to tell you why it matters. Because right now, this is a team that has the 12th most cap space at $19 million. But this is a team that it wasn't want to play with trying to tag him again with that 44% increase. That would take it to $54 million if you can't get him to a long-term deal. And that long-term deal is going to be based on if you let him go into free agency, we in the $300-400 millions. I don't know where we're going, but we're going out of this stratosphere. So if I play it forward, either I'm going to have to franchise tag him a third time at $54 million, 44% increase, or I just need to give him the deal because this dude is going to keep taxing me. And I remind you, who's made the most money in the last 4 years? The only guy to be franchise tagged twice, Kirk Cousins.
Let me ask you, Sal.
And Dak is better than Kirk Cousins.
Let me ask you, do you think Washington regrets tagging Kirk the second time? No. Because the second time they said, okay, we've now seen Kirk for 6 years.
Well, he's gone.
He had a good year individually. He left. And what has he done in Minnesota? He ain't really making us regret him leaving. Now, to your point,
that's not the same.
Dak Prescott is better than Kirk Cousins. To your point,
I'm about to say.
But in the same breath, you going to give me one more year to assess this situation. You going to give me one more year to figure out if I want to commit or not. Let me take that year. Unlike you, unlike Bucky, and unlike, to a degree, me, Jerry Jones isn't ready to commit like that at the price Dak wants him to commit to. Jerry Jones
it's the terms, not the price.
Exactly.
Now the price is going up and the terms is going to be short.
The terms dictate the price because terms times price is the contract extension. So Jerry's not as committed as you and Bucky are. So I don't fault Jerry. You want to see more? See more. I'm right there with you, Jerry Jones. Coming up, Cam Newton got
see more money
heckled by a teenager?
You about to say TikToker?
Come on now. At his own football camp. Make it make sense. We'll tell you why we got issues with it and if Cam could have handled the situation better. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Big Ten Hoops returns to FS1 as number 5 Illinois continues their quest for a conference title as they face off with Michigan State tomorrow, 7 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Cam Newton went viral over the weekend after he was heckled by a high school player at his own football camp. The teenager ripped Cam about his free agent status. Take a listen to Speed.
You ass, man. You're a free agent, man. You're a free agent, Rich. You're a free agent. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You about to be poor. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. You're a free agent. I'm rich. He's a free agent. Where's your daddy at? Let me talk to your dad. Let me talk to your dad. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Where's your dad? You're a free agent. Talk to your dad. You're a free agent. You ass. Talk to. Let me. Where's your dad? Where's your pop? You ass.
Woo! Cam posted later on Instagram that instead of, quote, going back and forth with a child, wanted to have a man-to-man conversation with his father. Bucky is back, but I have to start with you, Mr. Acho. You have an issue with how Cam Newton handled this.
I have no issue with how Cam handled it. Number one, he was stating facts. He said, I'm rich. It's a fact. I'm rich.
Ain't lying.
Number two, he realized he was talking to a kid, so he said, where's your dad? Well, let me talk to your dad. He said, I ain't talking to no little boy. Let me talk to your dad. So I love how Cam handled it in that regard. What I really feel for Marcellus, though, is the kid and the ignorance of the kid, because Cam Newton is literally one of the greatest players to ever play football.
Ever.
Regardless of the level of football, he's one of the greatest players to ever play football. One of 9 players to win an NFL MVP and a Heisman. I said 9. You know how many players have played in college and in the NFL? Thousands. And Cam is one of 9 to have won both. So I'm just feeling for what knowledge, wisdom did this kid miss out on that may have changed the trajectory of his life? So I'm a junior in high school. My linebacker coach, Russell Labhart, he was also my defensive coordinator. He came up to me before the 3rd game of the season. He put his hand on me. He said, Acho, you're the best player out here. Just play like it. That's all it took.
Bang, bang.
From that point on, a switch flipped in my head and in my heart. I turned into the best version of myself, became the #1 linebacker in Texas, go to Texas, go to the NFL. And I genuinely, till this day, credit it to those 2 sentences that Russell Labhart told me my junior year before Game 3. Imagine, if not for the ignorance, what Cam Newton could have told this kid. Imagine what this kid missed out on by being just so brash and cocky and arrogant to not revere the greatness and the presence of the greatness he was in, and like a sponge just learn something, Sal. So I love how Cam handled it. I hate how the kid handled it, because you blocked your blessing.
All facts right there. But it seems like the only thing I have to push back or find some room for me to articulate how I feel emotionally about this is the fact that you're trying this kid as an adult, and I'm going to try him in the court of law as a minor. Now, that said, I do have an issue how Cam handled this, because you shouldn't return fire on a minor the same as you would on an adult. But he hit Cam where it hurts. He hit Cam in the ego, and Cam's having an internal conversation of, am I still the great? Versus, is this kid right? I am ass. Now, Cam knows he's not ass, but when you are questioning who you are and your football identity, and someone overhears that internal dialogue and then hits you right there where it hurts, I can understand why Cam at first had to go to his wallet. Let's talk about how you can lose an argument in my world very simply. One, you go to your wallet. Every time I was in the locker room, when somebody walked in, we were joning on each other, clowning each other. And as soon as somebody had to come back with, well, I got more money than you, L, you just lost that argument every time. If he talk about your shoes and you talk about how rich you are, nah, either talk back about his shoes or it's an L in the locker room. I'm giving y'all game. The second one is if you take it to a slur. Or the third one is if you want to fight. Start some violence about it just because the dude is killing you about your shoes and how they look on your outfit. So slurs, money, and violence, you're taking an L right here. This is why I don't have a problem with this kid, because I'm going to try him as a minor. Because Mr. Miyagi told us best. There are no bad students.
Don't do that, Sal.
Only
don't do that. Don't misquote Mr. Miyagi.
Teachers.
Don't misquote my guy.
No bad students.
There's bad students out there.
Only bad teachers.
Some baby kids out there.
Oh, it's some baby kids, but there's some worse baby parents out there that's creating these baby kids like gremlins out there. This kid didn't innately learn to be this way. This kid has been taught this way. And I tell parents all the time, if you don't want to teach your kids the right way, trust me, something else in this world will. And it's going to raise your kids for you if you don't want to do your job. Let me get specific, because y'all know I'm in a little Twitter beef right now. And I'm going to talk about this individual by name, Quincy Avery, had the nerve to shoot in the dark at me because of a difference of opinion. I'm up here giving y'all opinions, and I support them with facts, but if you disagree, that's fine. But once again, let's not take it to money, because I'm going to win, slurs or violence. Oh, Quincy Avery took it there. Not only did he go to the slurs, but he doubled down with the violence. I remind y'all out there that there are no bad students, just bad teachers. I had to do a little research on this Quincy Avery since I didn't know who he was when he was taking his shots. And as I started to do his research on him, I started to learn that he's not just a quarterback guru or expert, but calls himself a mentor of young minds. I asked everybody, do you want this man who is 30-some years old teaching your kids? You know why you don't? Because your kids start to do stuff like this player did at Cam Newton's camp. He was taught that. This is a world now where people are such on a clout chase to want to take the shortcut to success that they'll do it by any means. So why I'm not mad at this kid is because I'm mad at mentors like Quincy Avery, who have taught these kids that it's better to take shots at people instead of putting in the damn work, Quincy.
Whoa, I mean, I got a little bit of all that in there. Here's what I will say, talking about the Cam Newton situation. We don't know context, right? Because we only saw the video clip.
Right.
And much like the barbershop is all about playing the dozens, at 7-on-7, tournaments and competitions, we have that back and forth. And so leading up to this, we don't know if Cam and his crew was talking slick and my man jumped in on the backside and we got a snippet of a conversation that was really two guys playing the dozens going back and forth as opposed to a mentor really trying to drop some nuggets on the kid. I will say this. I wouldn't want my kid to necessarily not give the reverence that you need to give to an adult when you're having these conversations. And so I would appreciate if he could be able to separate, we're playing the dozens versus, we're having a real conversation with a grown-up. But that said, it's one of those things that it happens in real time at these events. I will say this about Cam, though. Cam gives a lot of his time, energy, and attention to helping young people become better. And I would like to think that if you're a Heisman Trophy winner, an MVP, and all these other things, that a kid would be like, at one time, Cam was recognized as being the best football player on every level.
Talk about
so
it.
Make sure you show him some respect rather than saying, oh, you're not a great player. And so I think it's one of those things that now the kid has learned something because he has since apologized. And I think sometimes with young people, they speak out of turn and they don't know when you need to step into grown folks' business like my man stepped in.
Bucky, you preaching. If you're going to step into grown folks' business, understand you stepping into grown folks' business. Now, Sal, we have applauded Cam Newton for not resorting to physical violence. I've applauded him for it. And I don't think he should have resorted necessarily to physical violence, but he should have laid hands on that kid and won. Stop, boy. Remember holy hands? Remember August 10th? Holy hands. August 10th, 2015. Remember when Cam Newton laid those hands on Josh Norman?
Oh, I don't remember.
Cam Newton laid hands on Josh Norman, and he must have said, Jesus. Because Marcellus, just 5 months later, Josh Norman had his best season, all-pro. 2 interceptions for a touchdown, signed a 5-year, $75 million contract because Cam Newton laid hands on Josh Norman. Imagine if Cam Newton would have just laid hands on that kid and would have just laid hands on that kid in one way or another. Maybe this kid would turn into the next 5-star recruit. I don't know.
I don't know if the kid ain't a 5-star recruit because nobody has that level of cockiness unless he got game.
That's real.
But I'm going to tell this kid right now, you know how many dudes I saw in their junior years that were ballers that right now are not ballers, never became a baller? Like, you have so much in front of you, you better count your blessings and learn from someone who has put in the work and is blessed like a Cam Newton instead of taking shots so you can win the crowd, win the moment right now. But you know what? That's what these kids are being taught. I told you that. These Quincy Averys out there working with these kids trying to say, I'm going to teach you how to throw and teach you how the life works, how the game works in life. Hey, man, these kids are learning a different way that they don't have the same respect, the same reverence. There's no place I've ever been as a kid that calling a grown person that has accomplished the exact same thing that I desire, that me calling him ass is actually a part of the game, part of the joke session. Like, I don't care context. I don't care where we heard the clip and didn't hear the clip. You calling him ass means you out of bounds.
You know what? That's facts, big dog.
There's no way you should ever go there. Ain't no 707. I don't care who out there.
That's facts.
My daughter, I told you this. My daughter hits me every single day. She does it with affection and love, but she hits me every day. Cam, when a little kid hits you with this weakness, it shouldn't hurt. Just like when my daughter hits me, it doesn't hurt. But when they learn a better way, it will come from the better teachers, whether it's the parental support and advice and guidance, or whether it's these kids who are going to these 7-on-7s and having coaches and having the third parent in the house, which is a coach, which is a mentor. But those people are letting them down. Because if I'm taking shots from other mentors, imagine what the mentors are doing with their students, teaching them how to take those same shots. Coming up, the Lakers dropped another one without Anthony Davis in the lineup. We'll tell you if we're worried LeBron can't carry the load. Next on Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Now, LeBron James nearly had a triple-double, but his Lakers still lost to the Heat over the weekend. The Lakers have now dropped 3 out of their last 4 since Anthony Davis got hurt. After the loss, LeBron said about playing without AD, quote, "It's time for me to adjust again and see ways I can be even more effective to help this team win ball games." All right, guys, Slick Rick is back with us to drop some knowledge. But Marcellus, you up first. Can LeBron carry the Lakers without AD?
No, sorry to say it, but no. I know a lot of people already pushing back. You're a Clipper fan, you're a hater. Let me tell you what Lakers are saying. KCP said it. The last few games, we've been putting a lot on LeBron. And guess what? It's showing. They've lost 3 of their last 4 games. Must I remind people that how did it work out the year before AD got here with the Los Angeles Lakers? They put too much on LeBron. He got hurt, injured, and they missed the playoffs. So now he's 2 years older than that moment without AD, and you think he can carry this load? Not so certain of that. You see it in Brooklyn right now. No KD, no Spencer Dinwiddie. And it's not really having the same impact and effect on that team as it is the Lakers without just an AD. And obviously Dennis Schroeder as well. So the comps are out there. It affects one team a lot differently than it does the other team. And I remind you about those Brooklyn Nets. They did play Utah, Slick Rick earlier, beat them by 34 points. Don't you come at my Utah.
That was not this Nets team. That was not this
exactly.
Nets
This team is better. All right, so to that point, there's 2 things exacerbating the problem with LeBron James trying to carry the load. Caruso even spoke of it. One, teams are stopping LeBron because they're loading up on LeBron because we don't respect the rest of these guys the same as we do LeBron. So the defense, talking about shrinking in on LeBron, is tough sledding. Also, LeBron James is trying to pace himself for May, June, July run that now you're going to put him in position where he's going to have to do a little more than he's comfortable with right now in February. That's tough. So if the teammates are taking notice of it and the teammates are acknowledging it, it's only me up here doing my job by saying, yeah, LeBron's in trouble trying to carry this team solo.
Can LeBron carry the Lakers without AD? Sure, he can. I just can't dismiss LeBron's ability to do pretty much anything that he puts his mind to, even at the age of 36. Can he carry them without Anthony Davis and Dennis Schroeder? And I know some people out there have minimized the value of Dennis Schroeder, but defensively, he's arguably their best perimeter defender. LeBron James being able to step into Anthony Davis's shoes as the backbone of that defense, have to believe that he's capable of that. Size-wise, athletically, IQ, everything. The biggest question is, should he try to carry the Lakers at this stage? And to your point, Marcellus, I would say, no, it's not worth it in the big picture because a championship is worth more than anything. Championship is not going to be decided in February in the next couple of weeks. Home court advantage or positioning doesn't really matter because presumably we're not going to have any more fans in the stands than we have right now. So what is the real value of having home court advantage? So with all that in mind, I just don't see that it's worth it. But that's a different answer than LeBron James is not capable of it. I think he's capable of it. I'm not sure that he's particularly interested in it. Certainly not interested in doing the dirty work at the defensive end with him chasing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for points scored all time. But can he do it? Could he do it? Absolutely he could.
Yeah, everybody got to chill out, people. Chill. LeBron said it best. He has to go back and recalibrate. Figure out how to get it done. LeBron can do it physically. The kicker is, how is he going to do it? And he's trying to figure that out mentally. I'm with you, Slick, for the fact of I'm not ever going to doubt what LeBron James can do. He has carried far lesser teams. Shout out 07 Cavs. He's carried far lesser teams. Shout out 18 Cavs. LeBron has carried lesser teams to just as great of heights. So I'm not doubting LeBron. All I'm concerned with is, how long will it take him to figure it out? I like to look at LeBron's history, so LeBron's history can tell me a bit about his future. Slick, you'll recall this. Let's go back to the 14-15 season, 15 playoff run, first series, first round against the Celtics. Kevin Love gets hurt. What happens against the Bulls, Slick Rick? The Cavs drop 2 of the first 3. Kevin Love was averaging 18 and 9, must I remind y'all, in the first round against the Celtics. Kevin Love gets hurt. Can they still get it done? They just missed the third part of their big 3. Well, after losing 2 of the first 3 to the Bulls, LeBron James and the Cavs go on to win 7 straight, sweeping the 1-seed Hawks. LeBron James can do it physically, Marcellus. Just give him some time to recalibrate, and he's going to need much more help from his backcourt. He's too nice to say it, but I'm speaking for myself, so I'll say it.
Man, look, LeBron need a break and a bubble to save this team again like they did last year. You're 5 months off.
You sound like that kid talking about Cam. Ain't no respect.
Hey, I respect LeBron. He just couldn't do it. Last time he had no... What was AD doing? Shout out to 2019, as you want to say it, Acho. How did the Lakers turn out when LeBron had to carry without AD before? Same thing right here. That's history telling you something. When you're 18th in scoring, 21st in three-point percentage, and 24th in turnovers, not looking pretty, AD or not. Coming up, a former teammate thinks Big Ben will set the Steelers back if he returns next season. We'll tell you if we agree. That's next on Speak for Yourself. That's history. Welcome back. Ben Roethlisberger will be 39 years old next week, and his future in Pittsburgh is up in the air. Steelers general manager Kevin Colbert said recently, quote, "As we sit here today, Ben is a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers." Big Ben would count for over $41 million on the cap next season, and his former teammate Ike Taylor said he'll be, quote, setting him back a year or 2 or 3 if he comes back. So, Acho, do you agree with Big Ben? Big Ben in this situation, would he set the franchise back if he didn't retire?
I do agree with him. And on this show, I love it because we talk sports, but really, if y'all listen closely, we talking life lessons. Sal, you said something a couple months ago. I live by that. You're either getting better or you're getting worse.
Damn right.
Like, you never stay in the same. So you might think you're staying the same, but you're getting worse in the context of other people getting better. And you're getting worse in the context of you could be getting better.
Facts.
Ben Roethlisberger at this point in his career is not making the Steelers improve.
Yeah.
He might be sustaining the Steelers, but he is not making them get better. And I look at the other imminent opponents for the Steelers, the Bengals, Joe Burrow. They're getting better.
Yep.
Now, they are ways away from the Steelers, but they're still gaining. The Cleveland Browns, they're getting better. Now, they're still a little bit behind the Steelers, in my opinion, but they're closing in very quickly. The Baltimore Ravens are equal with the Steelers, and though just incrementally getting better, they are still getting better. But when I look at Ben Roethlisberger, you're not getting better with them. Y'all might be staying the same, but good to me is the enemy of great. So I do think Ben Roethlisberger's holding them back.
Man, yeah. If he doesn't retire, God, I'm torn on this because I never tell someone when it's over. You tell yourself. It is a dream to play the game of football as an adult, as a 39-year-old. No one wants to lose that career, lose what you put so much into and invested in. It's really a death of a part of you. It dies. It never will be resuscitated. I don't want to tell Ben to retire. However, if he doesn't retire, he's setting these dudes back a year, 2 or 3, like Ike Taylor said. I have a general rule in life that I don't want to be anywhere that I'm not wanted. Just simple. My friends in high school, college, now, call me, say, we want to go here, go there. If I'm not cool in that situation and they ain't cool with me, I'm not there. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Ben, you go back to Pittsburgh, guess what you're going to do? Not be wanted. That's a bad situation to go to. There are 2 things at play right here. You mentioned the division, and I want to mention the league. In the division, going forward, Ben Roethlisberger is the 4th best quarterback in that division. Being real. Like, if you look at the youth of that division, let alone just the projection of what their talents are going to be going forward, I would put Big Ben at 4th. He's fighting there with Baker Mayfield. But let's talk about this situation. His decline. Not only is there a decline in Ben Roethlisberger, but we've seen it go juxtaposed to a youth movement in football. Name the quarterbacks that we saw in the AFC, the Final 4. Oh, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield. They're all 25 or younger. You're 39. And you're in decline yourself. The Pittsburgh Steelers, when they don't have Ben Roethlisberger since 2015, they're 13-10, winning record. How? Mason Rudolph, 5-4. What? Duck Hodges didn't even lose. 3-3, didn't have a losing record. Landry Jones had a winning record. Michael Vick had a winning record. All that said, if he doesn't tap out, they're going to be looking at him side eyes. And they know collectively they're going to be forced to tap out. Coming up, we talked a lot about Cam Newton today, and now it's Uncle Jimmy's turn. That's up next. Oh, God, I'm about to leave. Speak for yourself. Don't do them all. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy joins us. Cam Newton made a lot of headlines over the weekend, and Jimmy, I hear you have something to add. Go ahead, Unc. Carefully.
Bro, let me tell you something.
What's up?
Cam Newton is a far better man than I am. Seriously. He handled that kid far better than I would have.
You would have done up.
Oh, my head.
Hey, man, I don't play with my own kids.
I feel it.
So why in the hell would I have volunteered to play with somebody else's?
Ain't yours.
I'm going to tell you now, I'm not well. I'm a few French fries shy of a Happy Meal. So you parents can leave your kids with me if you want to. I can't promise you that when you come back, they won't be suffering from a mild case of major attitude adjustment. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm an old school Christian. See, I believe in the teachings of spare the Hot Wheel track and spoil the child. See, that's what's wrong with so many of these kids these days. See, they think that just because they got an opinion, somebody really, really give a damn. See, this is why your kids will suddenly look up one day and realize that their teeth have become involuntarily separated from their body.
Talk to him, Mom.
See, this is how you deal with these kids these days. See, I'm going to tell y'all something. Listen to me, parents. It's hard for these kids to take a selfie if they got their front teeth in their front pocket. Think about it.
That is so
They
true.
gonna learn.
Hey, boy, I don't want to talk about it. What's the statute of limitation on child protection services with my mama? Boy, that extension cord.
I can show you better than I can tell you.
Hey,
I had to pull
the branch. The branch. I ain't gonna tell you. My grandma grabbed a whip out before. Oh, let me stop. Fox That Live is next. I ain't lying, though. It was real.